Hello everyone, I'm Brian and today I'm going to be reacting to India is becoming its own Silicon Valley. So this was actually a follow-up to a video that I watched about IIT, I believe, which is about, I think, the last video I did on India. I see now that this is Vice on HBO, so it's probably going to be copyrighted content, and it probably has a copyright claim on it. Hopefully there's no ads in it though, because I don't have the right to do that yet. I'm going to be pausing it quite a bit because, again, it is copyrighted content, on top of the fact that, if you want to watch the whole thing, there will be a link in the description below to watch it uncut without me talking over it or without me pausing it. So, I do requests. This is a request. If you have a request, please leave it in the comments below. Please leave a link to the video as well. That way I know exactly which one to direct to. Anyway, let's go ahead and give this a shot. Good music already. Hopefully it's not copyrighted music.
So good morning all. So what is telemarketing? Selling products over telephone. Social graces. What are social graces?
I will say this: no one likes telemarketing in the U.S. Why? It's because imagine you just get a random call and they're just trying to sell you stuff, and no one really likes it over here. Especially me, considering that I have a very odd work schedule. I end up, what do you call it? I end up getting like weird calls in the morning from just numbers I don't know. But I'm like half asleep and I get a call and like, hello. And it's like, oh yes, it's so and so there or whatever. I'm like, oh god, and it just interrupts my sleep. So I have like do not disturb on. I don't answer phone numbers. I don't know who's calling. So leave it in the voicemail. Again, it's not only India that's doing this, but it's no one really likes it over here. I don't know. I don't know if it's something that India people like over there or not. I don't know. Let me know. Have you ever experienced this? I mean, it's fine if you're looking for something and they so happen to sell it, but most of the time if I'm looking for something, I'm going to go find, I'm going to seek it out myself. Now, unless they go out to companies, like, hey, they call up a company and try to sell them a product, that's a completely different story. But calling just random people, that's what I hate. I mean, a lot of people don't like that. Let me know if you guys have experienced that. If this, I don't know if this is what they're talking about. That's just, again, my thought process at this time.
Good morning. Thank you. You want to do the inbound call opening? You say?
My name is Sayed. I'm calling behalf of Lika.
I'm calling you on behalf of Elk.
Oh.
My name is Asha.
Well, it depends again.
How may I help you?
Good morning. Welcome to Dr. Wellness. My name is Krishna. How may I help you?
Wow, that dude's a pro. He sounds so much better than everyone else. But vice correspondent. But well, obviously he's a vice correspondent, so definitely a lot of training in English.
Perfect.
Why did
This
it
is
ask
a call center in Bangalore. Call centers were among the first outsourced tech companies to appear in India, and they're still here.
Good morning. This is Krishna. How may I help you? The location of BFW in Bangalore?
Call center work
Okay.
has been outsourced from America to India for
Yeah.
decades.
Mhm.
But this call center is different
Hello?
because many of their clients are actually Indian.
When we actually
Okay.
looked at the growth of India, there were a lot of domestic companies that were actually, growing.
You decided to do just the domestic market, just companies that are in India.
Correct. And
It sounds a little bit different. Whenever he answered, it looks like they were asking for directions or something like that. That's something a little bit different than what I thought telemarketing is. But let's see what else they say.
that actually did wonders.
The fact that Transact Global has found success by serving largely its own market is an indication of just how far the market has come. India's
Sorry, I smiled because I saw the computer there. It's because it's a computer that we use.
IT sector has evolved so far out of its call center beginnings that it's now a $150 billion industry.
This is the corporate headquarters of Emphasis, one of the biggest IT services firms in all of Bangalore. Why did India emerge, and Bangalore specifically, as sort of the site for this kind of growth?
We've always had in India a fairly large STEM population, right? We've had a history of mathematics and science and engineering and medicine. back in the 80s, IBM was launching the PC, Microsoft was launching the desktop operating system, and computers were going mainstream. So there was an opportunity for the Indian talent to be taken to where the work was, which was the United States. As telecom infrastructure became more stable, that led to this development of the offshore services. That provided a much faster way to write software, because if you can do it pretty much 24 hours a day. And then came Y2K.
Oh,
What was the
yeah.
problem with Y2K that India had to face?
The problem was the Western world had written programs that couldn't handle 00 at the end. How do you make sure that the computers don't fail when they come across a 00?
And that's the
I remember the Y2K incident, man. Everyone's making a big deal out of it. And I mean, I was young at the time, so I didn't really see it affect us. But then again, I wasn't working, so I wouldn't know how. I'm sure it was a pretty big deal because the problem with the just in case someone doesn't know out there, the problem with the Y2K is the fact that computer programs was never written with the first two numbers of the year. Why? Because you know, if 1800s, or I'm sorry, 1900s, 1900, 1901, 1902, 1992, 1993. That 19, the first 19 didn't really matter at all because you know it's 1990 something, or yeah. But then whenever 2000 was the hit, when it goes to 1999, then when it goes down to 2000, the computer doesn't think of 2000, it thinks of 1900.
year 2000.
That's the year 2000.
Some members of Congress are worried that the computer glitch will lead to dangerous problems on the world's infrastructure.
That's when a lot of our Indian companies that were young and nascent showed the world they had the ability to fix problems and do it in a way that you can actually afford to. And over the last 25 years, you know, this has kind of become a massive hub for the global companies to build software that essentially runs the world.
Indian tech workers are a worldwide phenomenon, with 850,000 entering the global workforce every year. A primary source for this talent are the country's 23 Indian Institutes of Technology. They're among the most competitive engineering schools in the world.
That tree is
The IITs
amazing.
was set up in the 50s as institutions for engineering education and research, modeled after MIT and Cambridge and other things.
So this is India's sort of best and
This is,
brightest
yeah,
engineers.
People get in here, and after they finish their undergraduate, I mean, they're sought after by all kinds of companies, Google, Facebook, the banks,
What are the most sort of popular or more competitive programs?
computer science.
That is the future. Technology, software, hardware. Well, not so much in hardware, but software.
Nerds.
Come on.
Nerds that are smarter than me. These kids all scored the best on the entrance exam.
Yes.
Right? So even better than everyone at IIT, these are the kids who are the best of the best.
Yes.
What is it like teaching them?
Very exciting.
Do you think one of these kids is gonna like maybe do something?
Not one.
But it seems for some of these kids, their dream is no longer to work in the US. Instead, they'd prefer to innovate right here in India.
And that's very good. You know, to help out their country and to bring it up, rise it up. Again, from the last video about IIT, a lot of Indians were leaving India to work in the U.S. because it's just similar to my home country. Is the fact that there's just not a lot of work there. Maybe the infrastructure is not there for them to do what they need to do. And it's great that finally they're staying. And I'm sure there will still be some that will leave, but at least majority are staying to build up the infrastructure there and make it a great country. Well, it's a good country obviously, but make it better than it already is, obviously.
There is an inherent sense of wanting to contribute to India's GDP. And there's a lot of emphasis on entrepreneurship and starting on your own.
This push towards entrepreneurship has become the primary focus, as basic software engineering skills are no longer enough.
And it's true, and even in the United States, starting up your own business is the way to go. I mean, if you want to work your own hours, make your own money, starting up a business is the way to go. It's not necessarily only just in software or computers. There are other businesses, of course.
In response to this shifting landscape, a number of startup incubators have sprung up to nurture creative ideas out of mathematically built minds.
Science and technology are the backbone of Indian education. But if you want to go from a back-end coder to a front office visionary, you got to learn how to sell. So I've come to an incubator for startups called Commencement, which coaches would-be disruptors in the art of the pitch. How important is the pitch?
Pitch is the moment of truth. Just having an engineering degree is not enough. If we are going to build the business builders and the job creators of tomorrow, they have to think about the world as a market.
Hi.
Hello. Hi.
Is he saying, like, even though you're very good at programming and everything, you still need to be able to convince the client that you're the best and that they should buy from you? Is that what he's saying? The pitch?
Good afternoon to you both. We're coming from a company called Ocean Water.
Fix my gadgets.
Native bag, change pay.
Yeah, that's what he's talking about.
You know, a lot of gadgets are getting introduced to India.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the thing I will say. It seems like they're, at least what they showed is they're struggling feeling confident, and if you don't feel confident, if you, like I said, selling the pitch is very much that. If you don't act like you're confident or anything, they're not going to have very much confidence in your software, even though you could be the best of the best. If you don't sell it like you know what you're doing, that you're very confident in your software, you might not sell.
So how we are actually, we are creating a basically a customer.
Trust me, it's hard to talk in front of people. I did speech class in college, and I did pretty good. I don't know what I used. I forgot. I mean, even though I don't like talking in front of people, but I think I did a pretty good job. I didn't stutter too much or say too much. I don't believe, but then again, I don't have a recording of it. I'm sure it's fine to make a few mistakes, but yeah, for you to sell your business, you really have to minimize the mistakes, the ums and the stuttering and all that.
We'll just go through a video walkthrough where you can understand how to pay using ChangePay.
Pretty good so far.
Welcome to Paradise Hotel. I would like to stay here for 2 days. Sorry, I don't have money. Do you accept ChangePay? Yes.
Now, I would say you don't want to use robotic voice, but it could be something that's different. Like it's to me, it's kind of funny, and it could be a very good thing for him because it's something odd, different.
Yeah, we'll have to work on that.
You do this all the time, right?
Right.
What is sort of common about the sort of shortcomings of how people tend to pitch ideas like this?
Yeah, I think it's the big one is
confidence.
How do you tell a story? This is what you get from people who know too much. They've been an expert in delivering projects, making products.
I guess from what I'm understanding from that's the fact that they focus so much on programming, how to structure everything, and how to make the product, but they haven't worked on talking to people and how to sell that product. Yeah.
In a very corporate environment. But I think we have to also come up with a solid business model which is innovative.
Hello, I'm from Music Money Labs. I'm Gopal. We are a music technology company that teaches scales music education.
He's doing a great job
very
already.
Simply, I mean, you just put it in front of you and you start singing, and it tells you if your frequency is off or if you're off the beat. We show you detailed breakdown of how can you improve, and you can track your progress over time. In India, you have so much diversity in music, and my motivation is to build a digital infrastructure for the Indian heritage.
Holy crap, he did an amazing job in presenting his product.
This is cool because it's sort of like very, very culturally Indian things becoming potentially like a globally useful product.
But also, it takes a non-music person to figure out a new way
to do music.
Yeah,
right.
You know, it didn't take a very social Zuckerberg to figure out the social network.
right.
Oh. He's got the stars in his eyes, as you can see.
For many of these would-be entrepreneurs, the hope is to one day join the fast-growing list of Silicon Valley-sized success stories, who make up much of India's nascent venture capitalist culture. I'm at a golf club in Mumbai, and I am playing around with one of the top VCs in the country. He's been named one of the 50 most influential business people in all of India, and he's funded some of the most successful online ventures that this country's ever seen. So what was your big, first success back in India? Nice. Good.
You're not supposed to talk while he's hitting the golf ball.
sitting in my office, met one of these
Oh,
sort of
that's
fellows
never a different time
who
period.
does the
Sorry.
traditional matchmaking.
Like arranged marriages.
Yeah, it occurred to me that why not put this stuff up on the internet? And so that idea was born, and we started out with Shadi.com. There you go.
What were the next investments that you made?
About 2011, I met a young guy called Bhavish, and he was looking at raising some capital for an on-demand cab service through your app. And so I wrote him a check in 2011, and today, of course, the company is worth close to $5 billion.
Wow. Would you say that the tech scene in India is at an inflection point in any fashion?
Indians have tasted blood, and given the cultural advantages that India has in many ways, I think it's a foregone conclusion that Indians will drive the coming tech revolution. You're already seeing it.
As India's tech sector grows more sophisticated, its entrepreneurs are becoming more ambitious, driving development aimed at saving our lives and the environment.
That's good. You definitely, there's, well, there's a saying in the US, too many chiefs, not enough Indians, basically mean too many bosses. But that doesn't apply here. It's good that there's people being pushed to innovate and not to just put a product out there just for the sake of putting it out there. I don't know, I guess I'm a little bit lost in where I'm going there, but basically what I'm saying is that it's nice that they're pushing the limits of innovation, software, engineering, science, healthcare. In America, they are too, but at least this video makes it seem like it's a bit more in India.
Oh wow. I'm in like a operating room.
Yes.
Oh, I can actually see my
Surgeon Simulator.
arm. Oh, no, it's brown because we're in India.
Yes. That's great. You can do the complete advanced cardiac life support protocol, and you really feel that you're doing it.
Oh, well, oh my God. That's a thing. That's a real thing. That's a real thing.
Yes, yes.
That's amazing. While many technology companies here are focused on serving the world's economy, I've come to the garage of Altigreen, a startup that's trying to take a hands-on approach at solving some of India's problems.
In India, there are 1.2 million people dying early every year because of poor air quality.
So what do you guys do?
We allow people to take their existing vehicle, bring it into our place, convert it into a hybrid at $1,000, saving 25% in fuel and 25% in emissions.
Sure.
That's really cheap.
I mean, are you trying to compete with like...
But you gotta also take into account $1,000 seems pretty cheap, maybe to US, but that could be a lot of money in India. So I'm not too sure how much that actually converts to how much someone makes there.
In fuel and 25% in emissions.
But the savings is
I mean,
amazing.
are you trying to compete with like a Tesla?
No. Tesla is still selling $100,000 cars. That doesn't work for India. What we're doing here is we're democratizing the use of electric technology.
Amazing.
Entrepreneurship is exploding here, with over 5,000 verified startups currently operating nationwide. Projections are so good, in fact, that the blue-chip prospects who originally left India to succeed in America are beginning to return.
I will say, in saying this, in the United States, at least last I've heard when I talked to my friend, there's a lot of startups up in the US as well, but majority of them fail, not necessarily because it's a bad idea, but you gotta take a lot of things into account. How you treat your customers, was there a demand of that in the market, is there already too much of that in the market, there's a lot of things that goes into about starting a business. And in the US, I guess there might be already a lot of businesses, and you're trying to start up in an area where there's already a lot of business, you have a less chance of succeeding. So it's kind of difficult, I guess, to do a startup in US in a populated area. But it seems like, at least in India, maybe there's not necessarily too many businesses, which gives a lot of hope to anyone starting anyone, but a greater chance of success, which is great. So it's going to be a booming economy.
I understand that most of you guys studied in the US or lived in the US at some point. And so, like, why did you come back?
Look at populations in India, right? You're building something that could potentially be used by 1 billion people, and it's a lot like the Wild West. The rules are being made.
1 billion people. Yeah, the U.S. only has like 300 and well, again, last I heard about 330 million people, but only about 270 million are adults, considered to be adults 18 and over. So it's a very small population relative to India.
Bangalore is very, very cosmopolitan now. There are people from not just all over India, people from all over the world, people who've lived abroad and come back.
I had a job offer interest from Google New York, but I met some really nice people in Bangalore that time, and I thought that why not give it a shot.
So you gave up working at Google to come back
I had
and
a
do a
job
startup. Given sort of the increasing amount of like anti-immigrant feelings in the United States, did that contribute to your decision to move here?
You know, Trump coming to power has not been good for anybody, and I think that is sort of forcing the growth.
Well, guys, to Bangalore.
Anti-immigrant? The thing that I'm more familiar with is anti-illegal immigrant, not anti-immigrant. I don't think I don't know. I don't really keep up necessarily with politics dealing with people coming into America, because there's already local politics and trying to live life in the local area. My local area was, you know, a little bit much. I don't know. I guess I'm not saying that right. I'm trying to live life and not trying to go into poverty. So worrying about politics outside of where I live is not of my concern yet, even though it should be. But I'm just trying to survive. So that's what I'm saying. But again, the thing that I hear is mostly it's just illegal immigration. It's definitely I definitely don't agree with illegal immigration. I 100% agree with legal immigration, and I understand there are people out there that's trying to do trying to leave their country because of I guess people trying to kill them or harm them in some ways. I'm not saying India again. It's just there are a lot of people that come into this country because of that, and I do believe that their cases should be heard, and if it's legitimate, they have sanctuary in the U.S.
You're coming home to making something happen.
To many, the future of technology doesn't lie in Silicon Valley, but in places like Bangalore. Recent evidence suggests that this is already happening, as emerging economies like India's make up almost 6.
Oh, dang it. I wanted to see that board.
Evidence
Sorry.
suggests that this is already happening, as emerging economies like India's.
Bosch. Platinum sponsorship. Tata's. Partner. Tech Making. I'm familiar with Bosch. Infosys. Sorry. Actually, I this board reminds me a little bit of something of my hopes that I could do it one day, which would be exactly what they're showing. Basically, the sponsors and whatnot, they promote who donates. Wow, Tata's on there twice. One's the consultancy services, and the other one's the technologies. But yeah, I guess to promote the sponsors, to show that, hey, yeah, they're helping us out. The only one I'm very familiar with is Tata's and Bosch.
Make up almost 60% of global GDP, according to the IMF.
Opportunities abound. Software, where all the value addition lies, is now our calling card as a country.
Bangalore is a city primed to emerge as a global leader in tech, with its nation's investment in education and innovation paving the way for a potential overthrow of Silicon Valley as the center of the tech universe.
You think Bangalore would ever overtake Silicon Valley as a center of engineering production?
Could.
Could.
What Bangalore's got going for it is the scale of India. It's like 1 billion people, right?
Yeah.
So even if you got like 1 out of 2,000 being engineers,
right,
you got a large population to pick from.
Yeah.
While the US and Europe continue to be the leading spenders, the center of gravity of the global economy is seen to be moving east.
How did you guys found companies?
When I was 10 years old, I was very curious in electronics and technology, so I developed a drone which can detect and destroy landmines.
Whoa, at 14 years old, holy crap, that's really good. That's a, wow. Detect landmines and destroy it, holy crap. US would definitely love that for sure for, you know, well, I mean, a lot of places. There's, I believe in like Vietnam and Yeah, Vietnam too, because I know the U.S. has planted a lot of landmines there. That's definitely a helpful place to destroy. Because I'm sure there's a lot of landmines out there that have not been detonated, and I'm sure a lot of innocent people have been killed by that. That's terrible. But also, U.S. will. I don't know how much landmines are being used nowadays, though. But still, that's just an amazing thing to accomplish at 14 years old.
Consequently, Asia will account for at least 25% of global ER&D spend before the turn of this decade. And that defines the age that we live in. And I want to congratulate all of you who have made this possible, the fastest growing segment in the entire IT BPM industry.
Okay, hopefully this is not copyrighted anyway. But yeah, I'm not a kind of person who's like, how do you say this? I'm not like, oh yes, America always be number one. No, generally, what I hope for is that regardless of who innovates and who does what or whatever is number one or whatever, that the whole world benefits from it. I've never say only America or only this. I'm not a person that says or is a nationalist, I guess. Even though there should be national pride, which is great, but don't push it too far to become like really crazy about it. But yeah, I mean, if India becomes the number one Silicon Valley, that'd be great. I hope that it raises up the country. I know a lot of the country is growing, is developing, and that's fantastic. I would love to see less poor people in the world in general. The U.S., even though it's a developed country, no country is ever fully developed. It's always developing. If you stop developing, that's not good. But it still has a lot of problems in there. Even though the U.S. has a lot of money, I'm wondering why we're still having. I don't know why I'm getting into the poor here, but anyways, because I know there's still a lot of people that are poor in India, and I'm hoping by these tech people staying there, starting up their business, which it looks like it's rapidly, crazy growing, which is great. I love to see people start up businesses and grow their business and get people employed. I love seeing small businesses succeed. The large businesses don't really mean too much to me because they've already succeeded in a sense, So small businesses have a harder time growing, but it's great and fantastic to see small business again, regardless of what country it's in, to just succeed. But yeah, again, um, Asia in general seems to be, well, I'll say India more specifically, very much getting into, and this just reinforces that getting into the tech world. And again, I might have said this in one of my videos. I don't quite remember, but in science as well, especially doctors. I've for some strange reason, every doctor I've heard that are really highly paid in the U.S. I've worked in the hospital before, not anything medical, just pushing patients around when I was going to college, and even when I moved to a different state, I hear like the main doctors are Indian doctors, which is it's just really crazy and really cool. It's just I never ever I thought it was kind of weird. Like, is it like a lot of Indian doctors? Like, wow, that's neat. I figured it'd be American because majority of the United States is obviously an American, but hearing a foreign doctor, which is more than likely he graduated in India and immigrated over here because of maybe availability of job or maybe higher pay at the time. I'm not sure. But yeah, it was interesting that a lot of higher positions in the U.S. are Indian. Okay, anyways, I think that's all to say about India becoming its own Silicon Valley. I wish it the best of luck, and if it does, that's great. If it doesn't, well, obviously it's going to continue to push for that. And if you like my content, please consider subscribing. Thumbs up, thumbs down below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next vid.